all left ahead of you. So, Omar?
Thanks, Bert. First of all, I want to thank some of you guys who reached out to me this week. It means a lot, and it doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you for that. I also wanted to, as you guys know the news about Billy Hillgrove, I have so much respect for Bill Hillgrove. When I started here in 2001, I quickly got to understand and know the impact that he has on the community and the team, and it's been awesome to get to know him through the years. So congratulations to him, and I'm hoping the relationship will continue, and he'll come visit very often. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Omar, as of right now, how would you evaluate your quarterback position, where you might be going with it? What are the possibilities?
Yeah, we have, right now we have one quarterback under contract. As you guys know, we're a team that's always kept three, and that's probably going to be the path that we take. So we have some work to do. We are excited about Kenny, and excited about the impact that Arthur Smith's going to have on the offense and on Kenny, and Tom Arth also, and excited about the process.
Have you reached out to Mason yet?
What's that?
Have you reached out to Mason yet?
I have. I've been in communication with his representative, and he knows we want him back.
Omar, how did you guys come to the decision to release Mitch? What went into that, and to release him when you guys did?
Yeah, so not only Mitch, but Presley and Chooks and Mason Cole. Once we made a decision, we knew that they weren't going to be part of the 2024 plans. Those guys are all really great guys, and felt like the right thing to do was to give them an opportunity to catch on earlier with the team. So that's really what it was.
Omar, after the season, Mike Tomlin said there'd be competition for Kenny. There's different ways you could go. What avenues do you plan to pursue to create that competition in the room?
Sure. There's different avenues for us, right? The draft, free agency, the trade market. I would say every one of those avenues is an option for us.
Is it a preference to have Mason be a part of the plans?
Yeah, I mean, we've told him we want him to be a part of the process. So,
is there an ideal way you round up that room in terms of veterans, in terms of young guys? What's your vision there?
We're looking at everything, and I have an obligation to this organization, to the players, to the front office, to every member of the Steeler Nation, to look at every option and every way of trying to improve this team, and we're going to do so.
How does the increase of the salary cap affect what you do in free agency, and in particular with the quarterback position? Does that affect it?
I wouldn't say necessarily just the quarterback position. Obviously went up. That's great. But the one thing about it going up, it's relative. It applies to everyone. And you guys have known me for a long time. If there's an opportunity to improve the roster, we'll find ways to do things with the cap, and there's some flexibility, and if we can make things better, we will.
If you acquire another quarterback via the draft or free agency.
What's that?
If you acquire another quarterback, assuming you will, do you want to make it relative where Kenny is still in the position to be the guy, or do you want him to really have a battle on his hands?
Well, I think regardless of what position, not just the quarterback position, you guys have heard me talk about this starting last year when I got this job, was that competition was important to me, and that's no different to the quarterback position. Competition makes us all better. And that's regardless of position. I think that's just in life, regardless of what you do.
Were you surprised by how much the cap went up, and how much do you plan on spending of that in cash?
Oh, that's I'm not going to get into the cash issue, obviously, but I can tell the cap is there. We've always spent to the cap, and we anticipate spending. The cap's there for a reason. We plan on spending it.
What are your options at center?
At center, we have Nate Herbig, and I always talk about offensive linemen that have position flexibility. That's always been important to me, Jim. And we have guys on the roster that are center capable. But that's not to say we're not going to take a look in free agency and the trade market and the draft process. And there's some good players, and every one of those. This is a good center. We feel good about the center draft. Feel good about the free agents. The center free agents, and we'll see.
Omar, understanding that you're not going to talk about specific players in the draft, but when you look at the quarterback draft class as a whole, what are some of the strengths of this group, or what are some traits that you've noticed about the guys that are available that you're evaluating?
Yeah, I'll say that I don't really want to get specifics about one position, but this is really a good draft. The offensive lineman, the quarterback, the big guys both on the offensive side and defensive side, the inside linebackers, there's some playmakers at the receiver position, some really good corners. It's a good draft, and I'm excited. You know, I've been fortunate in my first draft. It was really talented. And heading into my second one, I feel really good about the talent that's out there.
But you need a starter-capable center, would you agree? I
I-
mean, you have position-flexible guys, but you need.
Well, I mean, we have position flexible guys that are, you know, starters in the league as it is, but you know, we're always going to try to improve the team, and you know, we cut our starting center from last year. We feel good about Nate Herbig, but you know, if there's an opportunity to bring some good competition, and we're going to do it.
Patrick Peterson played a lot of different roles for you guys at the end of the year.
Mhm.
Is there a plan to maybe use more of that flexibility this year, or find a way to keep him longer?
I think the flexibility goes to, you know, regardless of not just Pat P, but a lot of other positions. And, you know, I said it, flexibility and versatility it's important to me.
I know it's a little bit down the road, but have you gotten any thoughts on Najee's fifth-year option, whether that might be?
We don't have, you know, we have till the first week in May to make a decision. And, you know, we have a new offensive coordinator, so that's going to, you know, play into the decision-making process. You know, we're having conversations with Arthur. It's been great. We've been engaging frequently, and Coach Solomon and Arthur and I, we've kind of been talking about the offense and what the vision is for it, and you know, think very highly of Najee, and you know, we'll make the decision before May 2nd, I believe it is the date.
What can you do about Cam's huge cap number?
What can you do about it? I mean, there's a few different things that you can do, but I'm, you know, excited to have Cam a part of this for another season. You know, I should have mentioned and acknowledged him being named Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's really a great honor for him, and it's long overdue. He's a tremendous. He represents us as well as anybody that I've ever met. So.
When you change offensive coordinator, that award is big for you.
Yeah, it just represents, you know, it's who he is, and it says a lot. You know, hopefully that reflects on the organization, on the type of people we have here. But he is well deserving. I mean, I can't say enough about the stuff he does in the community, not only for us but on his own. It's just amazing.
Omar, what's his surgery do to his potential timetable for returning? How much does it delay it? Or does it?
Well, you know, when you get, you know, the reality is he's going to be 35 years old, so we got to be careful how we manage his reps. So we're going to be smart about it with Cam. You know, he's at that point where we have to be smart about how we bring him back. We're not going to rush it. You know, he doesn't need to learn the defense. I mean, he can probably teach it. I mean, we'll be smart about it.
Can you guys as an organization still have full faith in him, or does he have to show you something in this third year?
I mean, I have full faith in Kenny. He's shown us some good things, and obviously there were some issues with the offense, and I'm excited about the impact that Arthur Smith's going to have on him. You know, Arthur's very optimistic about Kenny, and you know, I know they've communicated, and like I said, we'll have some strong competition there, and we'll see where it goes. Feel really good about it.
When you change offensive coordinators, do you go kind of back through the work you've already done on this draft class and say, hey, we might be doing things differently now? Do some of these guys fit in a different way than maybe they did before?
You're talking about the draft class
like
this year?
Yeah, like this year's draft class. Yeah.
You know, we kind of, I don't know if we, I mean, it changes things a little bit, you know, as we've met and understood some of the things that he'd like to do. But we have some good pieces in place here. You know, we have some good football players on the offensive side. So I guess it takes you take that into account a little bit. But overall, we evaluate. We try to evaluate everyone as best as we can.
You just kind of quickly sum up what do you think maybe the sort of core characteristics are of what Art is trying to do, and what do you think that maybe mentality of your offense is going to be?
Yeah. You know, I don't know from the mentality if anything's changed. I mean, you guys know we like being a physical football team. But I'll let him answer it, those at the right time, or Coach Tom when you guys get them in March.
You did like the entire offseason last year was all about building depth in addition to acquiring some starters there. You built the depth, and yet still got hit at a couple of positions pretty hard. Is it tough to kind of balance that out? Do you always need one more than what you think you need?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. So we left training camp, and I remember Coach Tom and I leaving Latrobe, and we were like, man, we feel really good about this inside linebacker position, right? We had 3 capable starters, and in Quan and Cole and Landon, and then, you know, we felt really good about where Mark Robb was, and then all of a sudden you get hit by these injuries, and next thing you know, you're scrambling and you're grabbing guys like Coach says off the couch, and Miles Jack, and you know, that you're looking for players. You just don't know, you know, and you know, hopefully that doesn't happen again, because we had two of those guys had major injuries, and you know, it's unfortunate.
Well, Omar, Mike said after the season, it's a huge year for Kenny. He emphasized huge. Why?
What's that?
Mike said it's a huge year for Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, he's going into year 3, you know, so I think that's part of it, and but you know, I mentioned Arthur's excited to work with him, and you know, I'm excited to see what Arthur has in store.
Omar, the NFLPA report cards came out yesterday. How much do you guys take the feedback that you get from players in that setting, whether it's addressing facilities, training room, access to nutritionists, things like that?
You know, I obviously saw the headlines, but I didn't really read the report in too much detail. But, you know, we meet with our players every year. We're always looking to make changes and improve our facility or whatever it is if we deem it necessary. You know, by no means think our facility's holding us back from being successful. But we meet with the players often. You know, we have an open door policy. They come in, they give us feedback all the time, and you know, we do our best to implement what we feel makes sense.
What went into the decisions to make as many changes as you did in the strength and conditioning staff?
Yeah, so after the season, you know, coach decided to make a change and go in a different direction, and you know, it's part of the business. But we hired Phil Matus and have some new faces down there, and really excited about the energy that they're bringing. And I know they've been in contact with some of our players, and I'm really optimistic about the impact Coach Matus and the rest of those guys down there are going to have.
When you look at the success that Joey had as a rookie last year, does that influence the type of defensive back you might look for, whether that is in the draft or free agency?
We're just trying to get as many good players as we can. You know, players come in different shapes and sizes, and some do this good, some do that good, and we just try to get as many good players as we can.
Omar, you were talking a minute ago about the numerous injuries at inside linebacker. Is there any kind of a time frame for Cole Holcomb, and how will some of those injuries maybe impact how you address the position this offseason?
Sure. You know, it was unfortunate, Cole's injury, but he's working hard. I wish I had a better idea of when he's going to be ready to go. I just don't. You know, it's still early. He's working hard. We are optimistic that he's going to be back at some point. I just at this time it's just early. We don't know when.
Omar, you're going to be asked about that over there, so I'll give you a trial run.
All right.
You trading for Justin Fields?
I'm not going to go into details about the conversations that we've had, but like I mentioned earlier, I can tell you that I have an obligation to look at every avenue that's out there to try to make us a better football team.
How about Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson? Everybody else who's been rumored to sign.
Yeah, same answer.
There was discussions?
What's that?
There was discussions?
I'm not going to get into any detailed conversation.
Do you anticipate any more players being cut for cap purposes to get that?
I mean, it's still a few weeks till March, so you know, the evaluation of our team and you know, the free agency period conversations I think start March 11th, so we'll see how things go with some of the potential free agents at that point.
Your draft class last year, if you could grade it, I mean, you know, overall, how happy were you with just the way everybody seemed successful?
I'll put it this way: I felt really good about how the guys improved every week as they played. I sat and watched the Super Bowl at home like everybody else, and watched Kansas City win the Super Bowl, and you know, that's not where we want to be. So we have to be better. You know, everyone's got to be better, myself included. So goal is for someone to be watching us in the Super Bowl.
Did you feel pressure to match that type of draft you had last year? Your staff, yourself?
It's a good question, Mark. I don't know if I put a lot of pressure on myself, you know, to try to be right at everything I do, and I know that's not possible. But you know, you just try to make the right decision with everything. But
is Darnell Washington still a tight end?
Yes. Yeah. No, he's a tight end. You got me. Yeah, he's a tight end. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else? We gotta get on.
Thanks, Omar.
All right. Thanks, Omar. Track. It's Kenny Pickett. Feel really good about Kenny, but he knows, and we all know that there's going to be competition in the room, and we've always been a team that keeps 3 quarterbacks, and I'd expect that to be the same this year. So we'll look at all avenues.
Omar, you had the 33rd pick last year. Have you seen the value of that pick rise in the last 10 or so years? And a lot of interesting stories about people calling up trying to get that pick on the draft day?
What do you mean by the value? By being the first pick in the second round, you mean?
Yeah, because before 2010,
yeah,
it was
when
not
it was
a full day for people to kind of organize their draft board.
Yeah, we entertained conversations for 24 hours, and we evaluated the offers that we had. But at the end of the day, we felt really good about Joey Porter Jr. and felt the best thing for us was to take Joey at that pick.
Do you feel like that pick has increased in value over the years because of where it is?
I mean, I don't know if it's increased in value. It's just, they have that window, 24 hours to entertain conversations about it. And I think that goes for all those early picks in that round. I think the same thing happens maybe at the beginning of the fourth round too. There's always, every team always has some players that you're staring at right on the board that you're like, man, he's still there. How can I go get him?
Omar, you've made some notable subtractions so far in the last couple of years up into the point of the new league year. What went into those subtractions, and do you foresee any more subtractions happening before the new league year starts?
Yeah, I would say that with Presley and Mitch and Mason and Chooks, once we made the decision that they weren't going to be a part of the 2024 team, it just felt like the right thing to do was to give those guys the opportunity to hit the free agency market sooner than later. Every one of those guys is a stand-up guy. It was a great experience to have those guys around, and that we just felt like the right thing to do was to give them an opportunity to explore other options sooner than later.
Do you foresee any other options coming in terms of subtractions up into the new league year based off of things?
Yeah. Our evaluation of the team continues, and the free agency period really starts March 11th when you can have conversations, and we'll see what the opportunities are and see what comes of it.
There was a lot of injuries both with the linebackers and the secondary last year. How confident do you feel about the depths in both those spots going into 2024?
Well, the linebacker position, the inside linebacker position, we have Landon Roberts under contract, Mark Robinson, Cole Holcomb had an awful injury. I don't really have a timetable when he'll be back. Quan Alexander's a free agent, but he also had a major injury, so it's obviously a position that we have to address. I've said this since I got this job. I said depth and competition are really important to me, so regardless of position, and I think it's kind of speaks for itself.
Omar, with the NIL kind of changing college football, you have some quarterbacks especially that are staying longer, that are going to different schemes. How much does that help their development when they're coming into the league? Are you guys seeing on tape, like, wow, they are maybe a more polished product than they have been in previous years because they're incentivized to stay in college longer?
Yeah, I can't speak specifically to the NIL thing, but I'll say, every year that you're playing football and when you're young and you're growing mentally, your body, you're naturally, hopefully, going to get better. So the more you play, hopefully, the better you get.
The addition of the transfer portal to that too, giving them opportunities to play, maybe one's a spread scheme and they go somewhere that runs a pro-style offense. How much does that help when they're coming in and have experience in these different schemes?
Well, I think it depends on how much they perfected the scheme they were at before. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's different, right? It's new to all of us. It's been going on for the last couple of years, and I think time will tell what the effects have been on that. It's still pretty fresh.
Omar, what in your opinion made Arthur Smith the right fit for offensive coordinator?
Ultimately, coach makes those decisions, but when he came in for his interview, and I spent some time with him, and just his vision for the team, the offense was really encouraging from my standpoint. I'll let Coach, when you guys get him, speak to his opinion, but I just I enjoyed hearing his vision.
Kiana and Joey were your 2 second-round picks. Obviously big contributors on defense. If you were to add more to that position, like through this draft or through free agency, are you guys looking for more guys that sort of match their skill sets, or do you want guys that can have different skill sets to offer that can start across from them?
Yeah, good players come in different shapes and sizes, so we're in the business of acquiring as many good players as we can, regardless of position.
Omar, you're obviously incredibly active in the pro day circuit. What do you think about the move of the the Big 12 going to one just almost mini combine with their pro day, and maybe the trend of that going forward?
Yeah, that's new to all of us. And I mean, we'll see. You know, obviously open-minded, and you know, it gives us an opportunity to see a lot of guys from different schools going up against each other. So I guess there's value in that. But it's new to all of us, and I think time will tell as to whether it was the right move or not the right move.
Omar, you started Broderick at left tackle, but he moved to right tackle midseason. Do you guys kind of view him as a versatile tackle now, as a right tackle, or a guy that maybe you guys want to move back to the left?
Yeah, he's, you know, I've said this before, versatility on the offensive line is important, and he proved that he could play right tackle, but he was drafted to be a left tackle, and eventually he will be a left tackle, and when that is, you know, time will tell, but he was drafted to be a left tackle.
Was the board wide open for you in the first round wise? I mean, every position, it seems like you guys have depth where we know it's center, but there's not like a glaring need. How do you kind of just determine every position on the board?
You know, we evaluate, and you can never have enough good players at a specific position. I was taught that a long time ago, and that's kind of the approach I take. You know, you have to, you know, this is a good draft. There's some good players out there, and I'm excited about the options that we might have at 20, or you know, if there's an opportunity to move up or down. I think it's a good talented draft.
You said you wanted to bring Mason back. You got the advantage of a couple weeks here to offer him something that's imperative to get that done, maybe before the new league year, so you at least know what direction you can go.
You know, he knows we want him back. We've had conversations, but it's just sort of how the process goes. You know, it's you know, I can't tell you know, when the deal will get done. Hopefully with us, but you know, it's just a process, and I understand it. But we you know, we'd like to have him back more.
Have they indicated a desire to see what's out there beyond?
You know, I think every player kind of owes it to himself. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, still a few weeks till the start of the league year, but I know we'd like to have him back, and I believe he wants to come back and compete, and he likes it here. And you know, we've had a good experience with Mason.
Omar, when it comes to the center position, how do you kind of weigh the difference between looking at someone like Heyward coming out of the rookie class in the draft versus potentially adding to the position with a veteran?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at everything. You know, we have a need, but we have Nate Herbig, and we have some other players that have some flexibility. But we're going to look at everything, and you know, I don't want to just say we're going to do it to the draft or just through free agency. You know, we owe it to ourselves to look at it all.
Omar, does James Daniels' past as a center come into that equation when you talk about potential center options?
It could. You know, he's had some position flexibility. You know, he has position flexibility, but James really had a good season at guard, and you know, we were encouraged by that. Felt like he got better every week.
Omar, with the cap going up, are there certain guys that you might have like looked at originally and said, oh, they might cost a little bit too much, but now with the cap being a little bit higher, you can kind of circle back and be like, okay, this guy might be an option?
You're talking about other free agents?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I said about the cap going up, it applies to all of us. So, you know, whatever impact it might have on us, it also has it on the other 31 teams.
What are your thoughts on this year's punting class and Torrey Taylor in particular?
So we spent some time with Torrey at at the Senior Bowl, and you know, had a really good experience. It's a good special team group out there. As you know, we don't have a punter on the roster right now, so we're evaluating everything.
Omar, last year you were really aggressive when it came to maneuvering within the draft via trades. Do you envision a similar approach, and specifically, you have 2 back-to-back picks in the 4th round? What kind of opportunity do you see there for something like that?
Always going to look and evaluate at every option that's out there to try to make us better. Always.
Omar, how would you evaluate Allen Robinson's first year with the team, and what are your kind of expectations for them going into year 2?
Yeah, Allen, we had a great experience with him this year. He came in, you know, we made the trade. It was fun. I mean, you guys saw the impact he had on the run game, and you know, it's been a great experience with him so far.
Omar, when you talk about bringing in competition for Kenny, either veteran or rookie, what kind of traits are you guys prioritizing, and how much of a role will Arthur play in that decision?
I mean, Arthur's the offensive coordinator, obviously. So, but we'll, you know, we're going to look at everything. You know, we get, like I said, players come in different sizes and shapes and have different talents, and we're always going to try get as many good players as we can, regardless of the position.
Anyone else?
Is Arthur Smith interested in Justin Fields?
What was the question?
Is Arthur Smith interested in Justin Fields?
I'm not going to talk about a specific player, but I'll tell you we'll look at every option.
Deontay's in a contract here. Has there been any discussions with his representation about a possible extension?
As of right now, we're having I'm not going to speak to specific negotiation for an individual player, but I have a lot of respect for Deontay, and usually, as you guys know, the extensions usually happen later on in the year.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.